Hey, John, welcome. Can I be heard? Ask you to unmute and then hopefully you can hear me.
Unmute. I can
There,
hear you.
there we go. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't see you though.
Oh, you see my logo, right?
I don't see you.
You see my logo, John Powell.
I see John Powell, but I don't see
Yeah.
your face.
It's a new iPhone and I don't get the fling of it yet. So I don't know.
Hold on one second.
I don't know.
Let's see if we can help you figure that
It's
out.
yeah, it's the
Okay, so
iPhone.
now, can you see your screen? You can see it. You can see me on your screen. Can you see
Yes.
me? Okay.
Yes.
And so on your iPhone, you
And
should
I
see.
see so 1 second, I see a host has asked you to start your video
Yeah.
later or okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, hello. Would you like to access the camera?
Say yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Boom. I can see you now.
Oh, but I can't see you.
You can't see me? Uh-oh.
No.
Um, swipe. Swipe one way and see if you could see
Okay,
me.
this meeting is being recorded. Which way? Up or down or something?
Sideways, left to right.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing you now.
There you go. I got you.
Yeah, great,
Yeah, got you. All right.
great.
Hey, listen,
Yeah,
man. Thank you for
yeah.
spending a bit of time with me. I really appreciate it.
You're
Um,
welcome.
super cool
Yeah.
to connect.
Oh,
Um,
welcome. Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about like obviously we're going to get into the fact that is it is it art appraiser? Is that the official title?
No, I'm an artist.
You're an art. Okay, I'm getting you mixed up with
Yeah,
somebody else. So
yeah,
you're an artist, right?
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. So um, okay, so let's do this. Um, where are you located?
I'm located in Canada, specifically Kamloops City.
You're in Kamloops, BC.
Yeah.
Cool. And how long have you been living in Kamloops, John?
Well, I've been here since about, say, this month, 5 months.
You're in month 5 in Kamloops?
Yes. Set up my new studio, which I'm in right now.
Okay.
Just
Um,
since the month of the 5th of this month, I had this new studio. But previously, I was further up on a mountain, like somewhere on a hill, where the
okay.
rich people live.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I didn't have the space that I have here now.
Got it.
So I
So,
moved. Yeah, yeah.
okay. And so, John, how long have you been, how long, like, what did you do? Where were you before you were in this location? You were where?
I was in a little town called Lillooet for about a year.
Lillowitz.
Yeah,
Yes.
for
Okay. I
about a
know it.
year.
Yeah.
And then previously I was in Nelson City for 6 years.
Okay. And what did
Yeah.
you, have you always been a full-time artist or have you done other professions?
Well, I trained at Edmund Miami College and graduated in 1990.
Okay.
And 2 months after which I took up teaching.
Mm,
But I have been a practicing artist, doesn't matter what,
very cool.
the whole
The
time.
whole journey.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so how long have you been doing art now? How many years has it been?
Well, professionally
Yeah.
since 1990 upon graduation
Very good. Very cool.
until this moment.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
So I want to get into your story a little bit. and get an opportunity to get to know you, get an
Yeah.
opportunity for people on my channel to get to know you and your work.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I'm super interested in kind of the work that you do. So here's what I want to do. I want to just break it down into kind of 4 or 5 different sort of sections of questions that I
Mm.
want to ask. The
Mm.
first section is going to be I want to get to know your creative process.
Yeah.
Okay. The next section I want to talk to you about your identity and purpose for making art.
Mm.
Then, talk about your career, how it's been navigating the world as a black artist and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of us have a philosophy, a spiritual philosophy where we see our work. And then finally, what are you looking forward to? What's coming up and maybe a little bit of advice for other artists and what they could possibly do.
Mm-hmm.
How's that sound?
Yes, great.
Okay, awesome. So let's get into it. So let me ask you this. What has inspired your journey as an artist? Like what is the essential thread of your inspiration throughout
Well,
all these years? You said 1990 you've been doing it since, right?
yes,
Yeah.
I have been interested in people
Okay.
ever since, even before I went to art school.
Hmm.
I'm a Leo, and I don't want to sound prejudiced here by any stretch, but I love people ever
Hmm.
since I've been growing up. So, upon graduating, upon in the process of art school, I have love and developed a love for people. So, hence, my graduation theme was time passes, and exclusively I dealt with the figure.
Hmm.
So, I've been influenced more so not just the form, but more so time. So hence my theme, time passes. And I've been working on that theme ever since I graduated until present. But
Interesting.
but more so, and there's no monotony here.
Hmm.
It didn't get monotonous, trust me. And but more so, I'm interested in not just the form of people, but more so the psychological and emotional content, the way the body expresses its emotion,
Okay.
es-
Okay.
etc.
So you are a representational artist, primarily focused on the figure
Mm.
and focused on the relationship um, that people have with their body, correct?
Yes, but it's more deeper than that. I'm
Okay.
interested in the psychological and emotional content of what's
Ah,
happening,
so
of what's, yeah,
trying to depict that which can't be seen. I'm very much interested in that myself.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So can you do me a favor? I would love to hear you walk through your creative process as an artist.
Mm.
What happens when John gets an idea from an idea to a finished piece? Kind of just walk us through the way that your creative process works.
It first starts in the mind,
Hmm.
and then I sometimes, usually, initially, during, from graduation, I usually make a study.
Hmm.
But as time passes, I go straight to the canvas.
Ah, so you have an
To
idea.
Yes.
It's lodged in your mind,
Mm.
and you kind of fixate on that and marinate on that, and
Yeah.
then you go to the studio and you just start working right straight on the canvas.
No, I started first dissecting, processing, push and pull
Ah,
co- concepts, push, pull, and
do you
move.
do that in your sketchbook or do you do
No,
that or in your
in my
mind?
mind.
So
Yes.
you're just turning this over in your head,
Yeah.
turning it over in your head. And how long does it take for you to get that spark of idea until in your mind you're ready to put it on canvas?
It depends on my emotion.
Mm.
And sometimes when I used to be in Jamaica,
Hmm.
I used to just go grab my food, pass my studio, go eat, back and forth in the room, the
Right.
kitchen. And sometimes I have something right, so I don't have a set time. I will just have the food in my hand, ready to eat, and I put it down and start to paint.
Right. Right. I understand. I can totally relate. I
Yeah,
can totally relate to that.
yeah. So there are times when I make a study in my sketchbook, and there are times I go straight to the canvas, raw. So
Right.
I let it happen on the canvas because there are times when you want to transfer that energy in that sketch and it's not getting identical as before. So when it happens on the canvas, it's raw.
Right. Right. So it's very organic in nature.
That's the
Correct.
operative word. That's
Yes.
the key
Okay.
word.
I understand.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand. Very good. And then
yeah.
once you get it on the canvas and you're working organically in
Mm.
that way, generally speaking, because I know each canvas, each piece of artwork, it's its own world. But generally speaking, how long does it take you to from starting that organic journey on the canvas to completion? How long does that take, generally speaking?
I can't put a timeline on it. The
Hmm.
whole thing, the whole process is spiritual. So time is important, and I don't lock myself in a time capsule.
So you let the
So
piece tell you when it's done.
exactly. And
Got it.
sometimes I remember one time I was doing a piece while I was teaching, and I was far away. I was living in the Manchester parish, and then I was teaching in Kingston,
Okay.
capital. And I was, I had to drive like 135 kilo to
Mm,
work back
mm,
and forth. So in that process of time, I would start a painting. I would have a concept. For
mm,
example, that concept was the painting entitled Seven Canvases
mm,
from a religious theme. But I had done the research prior to, and then I jot down the research,
mm.
writing it down. No sketch, writing. And I stretch all seven canvases and have them ready. But I'm painting while I drive to work without
Right.
touching the canvas.
Right. In here. In here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one evening I would come and ready to eat. Then I would just grab one of the canvas and
Right.
start.
Right.
And then move, go eat, grab the food, come back and sit and paint and eat. So there is no time specifically speaking.
So your process is, like many of us, very organic.
Yes,
Um, you're saying to me that it's important for you to spend the necessary time mentally processing and turning the idea around until such time as you're ready to actually put something down. It's
is
very
not,
important to your process.
yeah, but it's no, it's not when I am ready.
Got it.
As I said to you, it's spiritual.
Mm,
And there is an organic emotion that I was just passing the canvas and the easel. And I
mm,
just immediately, no plan, I just put down the glass of drink or the food and
mm.
start. So it's not when I'm ready, technically speaking.
Right.
So it's a
So
spiritual
yeah.
thing.
So
Yeah.
I let me change my wording.
Mm,
You ruminate on it, and it's there in your mind,
mm,
and you turn over it in your mind until such time that um, it reveals to you for you to
mm.
move forward to the next step.
Yeah.
Got it.
I like that term that you use, reveal.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a spiritual connection.
So let's talk about that spiritual connection. How how important is it spirituality to your work in terms of, because what I'm hearing from you is this. I'm hearing that your art is a very sacred thing, and
In
that
it,
it's and you treat it with the honor and reverence and respect that it deserves. With that being said, for you, where does that come from? Where does this grounding of spirituality in your work come from?
it is from God directly,
Mm,
and it is too spiritual to explain because I can't find words to express that. I give you one example.
okay.
I had, while I was in the city of Nelson, one evening I went home and I just asked God what next to paint to honor Him and glorify Him. And within seconds, it came to me, the answer, the four angels.
Mm,
So the four angels is found in Revelation 7
mhm.
at the four corners of the planet,
Yes.
protecting the earth from destruction.
Hmm.
And immediately I grab, luckily, oh, I didn't have any canvas at the moment. I had my watercolor pad separate from my sketch pad.
Mm,
And I grabbed the sketch pad, and there I started the actual first angel. And I didn't start it chronologically. By that I mean east, west, north, south. I started the angel from the west without even knowing, until in the process of it, I realized, oh, this painting is in the west. So hence that angel, the west. So you can see these four paintings on my website.
mm.
So you can understand the spiritual process. So I cannot plan it. There's no preconceived ideas. It just happened. And I listen. The key word here, I listen.
Mm.
When this organic spiritual energy surfaced within, I listen and move to the canvas.
You know, it's so interesting. Your art practice and my art practice have so many similarities in the way that we approach things. In that, spirituality is extremely important, like I to my work, and uh, the whole idea of creating art for from a specific place. I like, for example, I believe that like even my studio space, I consider this a sacred space
Indeed,
where God and I meet and we commune and I spend time with God here. And I consider this a very important part of my overall spiritual health and well-being. For you in your practice, I'm assuming, just based on what I'm hearing so far, that that would be very similar for you. Yes?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm getting that sense from you.
so it's like it has taken me through the realms of realms,
Hmm.
which I cannot express because it's too spiritual to explain. There's no word.
Well, I think that that's part of what art is, right?
Indeed.
Art is supposed to be a vehicle to express that which cannot be expressed by words. As the
Ah,
old saying goes, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
mm,
And I think part of our purpose is to express things within the human condition that people find difficult to put into words. Um, and one of the things that I'm, focused on is is trying to draw, paint that which cannot be seen, which are the most important things in life.
That's it.
Love, peace, faith. These things, I can't pick up faith and just show it to you and put it in my hand. But I can create an image, and that image can create an emotion, a feeling within the viewer
Mm,
that can help them understand what love is, for example. So I
that's
think
it.
it's a very, very powerful and important role that I believe we've been called to and have been chosen to do.
Mm,
It's very interesting. I think that you know, when we approach art practice in this sacred way, I think it actually fulfills something that people don't even necessarily realize what it is that they're looking at, and they don't realize how they're being affected on a spiritual level in many ways. Um, so I find this very interesting. Before we go any further, I'm not a professional interviewer, so I want to backtrack for a second, and I want to get a little bit more background
mm,
to you and your story.
yeah.
I've gleaned so far that you're born in Jamaica.
Hmm.
Where and when were you born?
I was born 1960
Hmm.
in Manchester, Jamaica, Spalding Hospital.
Okay. And you spent your formative years in Jamaica, or how did that work?
Yes, in Jamaica. I just came to Canada 2017 October.
Oh, okay. So you're recently here to Canada. So you
Hmm,
spent the majority of your career back in Jamaica. Is that right?
correct.
Okay. And so help me understand, because my parents are both Jamaican and been to Jamaica many, many times, spent a lot of
Hmm.
time there. Help us understand the landscape of the art world, the art community in the island of Jamaica.
Uh, During my time, it was very pregnant with collectors collecting,
Mm,
so to speak, using that term.
mm,
Uh, but now it's like famine
mm. Why do you
because
think what happened? What changed? It sounded like it seemed to be, at least when I remember growing up when I was a kid, it was a very rich, vibrant environment. You could see art everywhere and anywhere, and you could see artists on the side of the road all the time. What changed? What changed between then and now?
well, there are still artists the same way as you just explained. However, the collectors gotten older and died off, and the
Mhm.
kids are not collecting the art as their parents did.
So there's the second generation
Yeah.
who perhaps don't find the value in art, or I'm speculating now, but nevertheless they're not buying it.
No, they're more like Mercedes Benz and SUVs because I am in sync with what's happening because the former director of Edna Manley College and my former professors, as along with some of my contemporaries,
Mhm.
I am in dialogue constantly with Hope Brooks, the former director of Edna Manley College,
Okay.
and she gave me a synopsis of what's happening prior to me coming here and in this time that I've been here.
Hmm.
So the collectors are very rarely you see one or two of them still buying. For example, some of the rich, wealthy families almost own half of Jamaica. I'm not going to call their names.
Right.
And my former professors had said to me, one or two times, like a 3 year stretch, you will get an original sold.
Wow, that's crazy. You can't, how are you going to live with? Wow.
But then the thing is, the collectors, globally speaking, as is in Jamaica, are
Hmm.
getting younger, like say age 28 to 40, thereabout.
Right. Okay.
So, and prior to coming here in the, say, early 2000s, up to the mid 2000s, when I spoke to the art fair directors and organizers, for example, in Mandeville, a major art fair that is still ongoing there, the organizers will tell me the collectors are getting younger and they are looking for abstract expressionistic work that
Mm.
are not necessarily representational in terms of photographically speaking.
That's very interesting. I'm finding similar thing too. I'm finding
Mm,
that
mm,
collectors are, let me back up. I'm finding that the bulk of the collectors out there
mm,
fall on the abstract side of the table and not the
yes.
representational side of the table.
Mm, mm,
And I also find that internationally, even here in Canada, um,
mm,
internationally is better than my international market is better than
mm.
my homegrown Canadian market,
Oh,
if that
okay.
makes sense.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
so that's interesting. It's interesting that Jamaica is having similar challenges, um, and that's comparable to kind of what we're facing here.
Yes.
Very interesting.
So I connect to the global art market. Ever
Hmm.
since I left Edmonton College, I subscribed to the World Art News,
Hmm.
and I used to get the magazines and then physically, and then I'm getting the magazines through the electronic
Right.
media.
Hmm.
However, recently speaking, up to say past 10 years coming down, the collectors usually be like age 35 to 45. But now recent stats has proven from the who is who, the persons who know this thing, like the
Hmm.
journalists and the art
Hmm.
dealers and so on,
Hmm.
they collect the millionaire art collectors are age 25 to 30, 35.
Yeah, they're becoming a little bit younger. Yep, that's
Yes.
true.
And they're collecting, recent studies have shown that they're collecting works from their contemporaries, have the same age group.
Mm.
And the same is true for Jamaica. So back to Jamaica now. I have been in dialogue with artists who goes to different fairs and all that,
Hmm.
even though the high pitched sales are not like the $1 million sales and so on. That's happening like next maybe every 3 years or so. The young collectors now are collecting affordable works from young artists, and it's the same is true of different parts of the world.
Mm.
And more so, prints, high-end prints like Giclée prints
Right.
are being collected in Jamaica more so than original. And if an original is collected, it's like small, like say 8 by 10,
Right. Yeah.
14 by 11, 16 by 20, but not so much.
Mm.
So I am on the ground with the artist there, even though I'm right here in Canada.
Right. Right.
So
Very
that is,
interesting.
yeah, so that's what's happening presently in Jamaica. And there are artists now who has to be living off prints and sadly to say, before I left Jamaica, there are artists who has to turn to fishing to get to earn a buck
Mm.
because artists who are living in Montego Bay area,
Hmm.
who I occasionally interview, a lot of them. One recently told me about a couple of weeks ago, months ago, before I came into the city, he's pumping gas at the gas pump
Wow. Wow.
in
That's
order to. So that's what I'm telling you.
that's
It's famine.
discouraging. It's
It's
very
famine.
discouraging.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
basically that's yeah.
you took it upon yourself to go to greener pastures, as they say.
Yes,
I'm
and
interested
yeah.
to know, with famine in your rearview mirror,
Mm.
what do you see out of the windshield now that you're in Canada and you've set up your art practice here? What has it been like in contrast with Jamaica and leaving what seems to be a real significant downturn in the art there, in the art community?
Let me give you a little history.
All right.
I have been on the global stage from 2001,
Mm-hmm.
and I have been on it to present. So it's not because I'm here while, it's like, say, greener pastures. I was in the greener pastures, but not physically,
Mm.
through time and space. But I'm here now physically, and it's no different. So I've been exhibiting all over the world, so I couldn't actually. So it didn't affect me during the time me in Jamaica, because trust me, all 3, 4, 5 times for the year I've been exhibiting all over the world.
Right.
Up
So,
to,
uh,
mhm,
so I'm curious
yeah,
because I want to do the opposite of what you're doing.
mm,
I want to go someplace warm. I don't want to stay here in this cold country.
mm.
But I'm interested to know what prompted you to leave Jamaica to come to Canada at this
I was
stage of
in,
your career.
I was invited
Ah, okay.
by the then dean, which is the head dean of the Selkirk College in Nelson, BC.
Okay.
She saw me online in Jamaica, and then I was inducted in the Hall of Fame, with in the Caribbean Hall of Fame. And then she saw that online. Then she invited me to Kingston to interview me.
Hmm.
And then I should tell you that I was planning to go to Europe to
Okay.
live.
Right.
Then she said, why not come to Canada and help us here in arts and culture? And you know what she did? She went straight to the immigration, Canada, in Jamaica, and let them know that this international artist,
Right.
retired from teaching, inducted in the Hall of Fame, is free, and I would like him to come to Canada to set up his studio and help us in art and culture here.
Right.
So, upon interviewing me, she eventually came to Canada, called a board meeting with the Selkirk College Board of Governors, told him about me, and the Selkirk College Board of Governors gave her the okay to write a letter to immigration.
On your
To let,
behalf. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
she went back to Jamaica, handed me the letter, and I just put in, and I get my papers together, walked straight into Immigration Canada, Jamaica. And that time I had registered as a practicing artist in Jamaica,
Hmm.
and just handed them my document. They said, okay, go and pay your fee and
You've gone
listen.
through. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I listened, I said, we will hear from us. And 2 2, they called me for my package. And then I came here on the 31st of October 2017. So
Mm.
I've been helping ever since in Nelson area and the Kootenays.
Hmm.
And I've given free talks at the art school in Nelson. Two different schools, one that deals with music and the graphics, one that deals with the fine art. So I've spoken at both institutions. No, same institution, but different
Different
bill.
departments.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay.
So, and I've been the dean now. After about 5 days, he introduced me to the Nelson Arts Council,
Mm.
the head, and says, you will learn something from him. And I have been doing that for the past 6 years. Then, by extension, I was also summoned to go to be interviewed by the city of Nelson.
Mm,
So an official interviewed me and wrote a letter to immigration and said, we want him here.
mm.
So 2 letters were sent to immigration. So I've been helping in arts and culture there, and not just in Nelson City, but in the entire Kootenays and by extension, the entire Canada
Right.
as we speak.
Wow,
So,
that's
yeah,
interesting. Very very
yes,
fascinating.
yes. So that's what it is. So I did not choose to come here. I was invited.
Right.
But I fell in love with Canada during my time in Jamaica because I had exhibited in Canada during my time of teaching.
Okay.
I was invited by one of the contemporary art gallery in Toronto. That is way back when. They saw me online. Then I just upon graduation, just upon retirement, I was in Florida setting up my studio because I have a studio in Florida,
Mm.
which I am importing here now as we speak. The painting just reached last Friday, and the easel and my clothes, and the art material in flight. So is during that time. So I went back to Jamaica, and then I started a new studio there, and that's where the dean saw me.
Got it.
So yeah, yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Quite an interesting.
Journey.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. Um, we talked about how important spirituality is. We talked about your journey to Canada from Jamaica. Um, I wonder I wonder a couple of things. First thing I wonder is all of the experiences that you've had, Jamaica here, the way God is kind of directing your life to this point. I'm curious to know what your work looks like now after all of this transition and you being in a new space physically. Have you seen a change and a shift in your work when you now that you've sort of are in a different physical space?
No, there is no drastic shift or change. It just knowledge increases, has been increasing as time passes
Hmm.
of dealing with concepts and so on, but nothing drastically happened. It just knowledge increase in terms of approach
Okay.
of the same problems in the past. So new way of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the same question.
Mm.
Because in creating or making art, it is a question posed. This is how you answer the question. So knowledge has increased through process, through the process
So
of
let's
dealing. Mhm.
so let's key on that word process.
Mhm.
Let's key on that word process. Is there a piece that you've created that has changed you in the process of making it?
Ah, yes,
Tell me about it.
very significant. And that's an understatement. I didn't want to give it away, but I'm going to give it away. It didn't happen when I came here. It happened in Jamaica after I returned to Jamaica from my studio in Florida. The painting has caused me, this painting called Adam and Eve. In the process of making the painting, I realized that I am nature.
How so? Explain. within the context of the work you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
So look at the colors. I don't want to explicitly give it away. I'm just
Okay.
giving you a hint.
All right. We'll go and look at it. It's on the site.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go look at it.
Adam and Eve. It's a 36 by 24 watercolor. It's acrylic and oil pastel combined.
Okay.
Immediately while I was in the studio, it just came to me that I am nature. And instantly that has been a change. But it started from the concept of my color stripe. You notice how I paint in linear?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give it away further, but I'm giving you a little hint. The colors are taken from nature. That's as far as I will go. It has caused me to have the awakening that I am nature. So hence the colors that I chose to paint the figures. They are extract from nature. The same colors that are in nature, the same colors that are in the figures. I gave you too much.
I'm looking at it now as you're
Yeah,
explaining it to me,
yeah.
and I understand
So
what
you're
it
looking
is.
at Adam and Eve.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. As you're
Trust me.
talking,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
absorbing what you're saying.
It just dawned on me that I am nature. Hence, the colors are exact what you see in nature,
Hmm.
but it's my interpretation.
Wow. And
And
how?
that's it. And that's the change from that time
Mhm,
until present.
mhm. I think it's so interesting. I asked that question because, of course, I've created pieces that have profoundly shifted me. And I know that I'm not the same person, um, or I don't have the same perspective
Mm,
that I had before.
mm,
And I think one of the real blessings of being an artist is being able to have a relationship with the art in many different ways.
mm,
I think that's a real blessing. In other words, you have a relationship with the art as the creator, right?
mm,
But that relationship is not the same as a relationship that you have with the art when you hang it on the wall. And it's yet a different relationship when you bring it into a different environment and say, okay, now it's going to go into this exhibition. And you are now surrounded by people who are now taking in the artwork in a completely different way than perhaps you even intended. And
mm,
now you're engaging with those people and they're sharing with you what's touching them. So I just find it a real unique experience to participate in that,
mm,
in being an artist and going through having a relationship with your art in different ways. I find it really, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot in participating in that. That's why I believe art is a practice. It's not something that is, it's not a job. It's
mm,
not a vocation. It's a practice. And I think that's a big part of the practice is getting outside of the studio and engaging with the public and allowing and stepping back and allowing the public to engage with your work and just sitting back and observing how they're engaging with the work. That's a big part of a practice, getting that feedback.
mm, mm,
Um, Question for you around what's going on in your life now, what's happening in your studio now. Always like to talk to artists about, okay, what are you working on right now? What's putting the fire and passion in you right now that you're working on?
Okay, I just finished a painting this morning, the same painting that came from my studio in Florida.
Mm,
Just put the finishing touch and took it out and shoot it because I shoot my own art
right.
for, yeah,
With the
documented.
documentation. Yeah.
It's a piece. I'm a thematic artist. I work on themes. For example, anything I touch become a series.
Mm,
Like time passes, music series, religious series, nature series. So this painting I just finished, it has been from the past, say, in the early 2000s. And
you've been working on it that long, on and off.
yeah, and then I left it in Florida
Hmm.
and I just finished it just now.
Wow.
And it's from my music series.
Okay.
And some it's from some other series, like I have another series like ballerina series, and then series like musicians. So
Mm,
these are like three musicians. So I just finished it just now. And previously speaking, I had finished a painting has to do with the climate, the protest painting against the destruction of the bees on the planet.
mm.
What triggered it off? While I was in Jamaica 2015 in my studio, I received an email from the Greenpeace headquarters in England,
Mm.
a formal letter saying that they are contacting selected artists from all over the world to make a painting in protest against the destruction of the bees on the planet. And I was selected. So the sponsors for that exhibition were like the billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires according to the letter.
Mm.
Like Richard Branson, the guy
Okay.
who owns
Yeah.
Virgin,
Virgin.
along
Yeah.
with, yeah. So the painting was sent to England and they asked us not to sell it because they're going to call back for a major exhibition in the future.
Mm.
So this painting that I had finished prior to this one, which has to do with the bees, you could see it's called Pure. So it is the second in the series, and it's a small painting, 9 by 12. You could see it if you're online now. You could,
I'm checking it out.
yeah,
How do you spell the name of the title of the work?
Pure.
Okay. Pure.
And
Yeah.
yes, and so you'll see two Pure on my website.
Yep. I see it.
There's, yeah. So you see the little one, the last one,
Yep. I see it.
the flowers in painting in my signature style with the
Yep. With the
stripes.
bees, with the two bees. Yeah.
Yes, and no,
Not that one?
that one was the first one commissioned by the Greenpeace organization,
Okay.
and it went to England and came back, and they asked me not to sell it.
Okay.
So look, you will see another one called Pure. It's a small painting, and it's with one bees, and it's at the top of a flower.
Oh, yep.
Paint,
Okay. Yep.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I just finished that one, I think 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago.
Cool. Very
So,
cool.
so that's a series, that's a theme. So I'm a thematic artist.
Hmm.
Anything I touch become a series. And then I will stop a series, start another series, come back to
Right.
the series that I had abandoned for a while. So that's how I work. Almost like they said Leonardo, couldn't count on him because he would abandon his art and go start something new. So that's how I work.
Cool. So,
Hmm.
um, so that's something you just finished. Anything you want to share with us that's literally on the canvas that has wet paint on it right now that you're excited to share with us?
Well, yes, it's the one that I just finished. It's acrylic and oil pastel, so it's not a canvas. It's on
Mm.
hardboard.
Okay.
I don't know what you want to see it, but I don't know how to.
No, it's
Oh,
okay.
oh,
You can
see.
move around. I
Oh,
can see
yeah.
it over your shoulder right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's it. So what I'm gonna
Very
do
cool.
is, you want me to let you see it closer?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see it a little closer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see how I can do this.
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah, three musicians. So it is entitled Interlude.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
So,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. From the Interlude or music series.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, John, I've really appreciated your time, taking the time to talk with me. Just a couple
Mm,
last questions before we close it out.
mm,
Um, I always like to have at least one question dedicated to a more seasoned artist that has been around and seen a lot of things and done a lot of things.
mm.
What advice can you give to the younger black artists, the young ones out here coming up right now? Can you give advice to them? What would you say to them?
Make art organically. Don't listen and watch anyone. So if if it, and I also want to say, if you're a liar as an artist, don't make art
Yeah.
because
uh,
art is truth.
yeah. Yeah.
So go make art,
Yeah.
even for the sake of it. Art for art's sake.
Beautiful. Very good advice.
Uh,
Y- yeah.
yes, thank you. So, could you send me a copy of this interview?
I absolutely will. Before I
Yeah,
let you go,
yeah.
I want you to let everybody know. I
Mm.
know it's johnpowell.com, right?
No, no, no. It
What is
is
it?
John Powell Paintings with an
Ah,
S.
paintings with an S. So let everybody know how to get a hold of your work. John Powell Paintings,
Yes, and IG. My Instagram is John Powell Art.
John Powell Art on Instagram. Do
Yeah,
we
so
have
that is,
Facebook or just
yes, yeah. But the first one I gave you is that was my registered name from 2001.
okay,
And if you type that in, everything you will see about me,
right?
John Powell Paintings with an S. Every single thing you will see on the planet about me online.
Okay. So folks,
Yeah,
um, John Powell's official website, right? There you have John Powell Paintings, and then you can find him on Instagram,
which is John Powell
which is
Art.
John Powell Art.
And that's my business account. You'll see another account there, but John Powell Art is my business account.
Great.
Yeah.
Very accomplished artist, internationally collected, someone that we can all look up to and learn from. And it's super important for us as artists to sit at each other's feet and learn from one another in humility. We all have something to share and we all have something to learn.
Mm.
Brother John, thank you so much for spending a bit of your time. I really, really appreciate it. And hey, keep making art.
That's it.
Making art.
But, but if you're a liar, don't make art because
Well,
art is truth,
if you're a liar, you won't be able to make art.
because it's going to tell you
Yeah.
exactly what is in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't cheat this thing that we have here.
No,
It won't be cheated. If you
no.
come at it in a dishonest way, you
It
will
will
not,
prove.
yes,
That's why I said it is truth.
yeah, you will not be successful.
Organically speaking, it's organic.
Yeah.
It will expose you.
Yes. And
Once,
You know what's really really interesting before we close off is it's
Mm.
this. If you come at this thing in a dishonest way, art has a way of exposing what's inside of you in a very like it's very harsh that way. It's very very harsh that way. Whatever is in you, whatever's inside of here, you have no choice.
It is
Even if you're
raw.
trying to hide it, it will come out.
It is raw and organic. It will tell you who you are. If you're a liar, the people will know.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a spiritual thing. Uh, this is going to sound to some people this is going to sound weird, but this is absolutely the truth. The spirituality and energy ends up in the canvas, embedded in the work. And so when people come in front of it and are confronted with what was inside of you that it took to put on the canvas, they could
Mm.
feel, they could sense whether it's true or not. They can experience that. And it's just, as you were saying earlier, it's something that is very difficult to explain.
Too
Um,
spiritual.
it's so spiritual. The transference of what you have inside of you can go onto a canvas and can connect with a human being that you've never met before. It's just an amazing gift that we have. It's such a
Mm.
blessing that we have to be able to create art. So
Mm.
thank you, my brother, for spending the time and sharing with us. I really appreciate it. Peace and love to you.
Peace. I wish you all the best and thanks for this. And peace be with you.